Mike Vrabel is restoring the Patriot way, and I have New England Patriots columnist for MassLive Sports, Guregian, joining the show to break down Mike Vrabel's impact on the Patriots so far as head coach, as well as Eastern Washington University alum, as I'm seeing this wearing the shirt, and Patriots rookie wide receiver Efton Chisum's performance so far in Patriots OTAs and minicamp, Washington State Cougars alum, and Patriots rookie wide receiver as well, Kyle Williams' potential for the Patriots in 2025, and so much more. All this and more here on Bailey Price Media Live on the other side. Welcome back to another edition of Bailey Price Media Live.
Bailey Price Media, I like it.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome back to another edition of Bailey Price Media Live, talking all things New England Patriots today. Got a very, very special guest for you guys if you're watching. And if you're just tuning in, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. I cannot thank all of those who are members of the BPM Army enough for supporting the show. I appreciate all of you, and we're getting closer to a massive season ahead. But without further ado, special guest for today's show is here, and lots to talk about on the front of New England Patriots. But without further ado, New England Patriots columnist for MassLive Sports, Karen Guregian, joins the show. Karen, happy Thursday. How are you doing? I can't thank you enough for joining.
And it's happy day before the 4th.
Absolutely. About to enjoy a great holiday weekend, but let's talk some New England Patriots. I can't thank you enough for joining. Been really looking forward to having somebody covering the Patriots on this show. And without further ado, I wanted to ask you guys brought in Mike Vrabel as head coach this offseason, one of my favorite moves across the NFL this offseason. I really think he's going to have an impact and really help restore the Patriot way. I wanted to ask you about his impact so far as Patriots head coach. What have you seen the impact? What has changed? Some things you like, anything you don't like? The impact on the New England Patriots from Coach Vrabel so far.
Well, I think one of the biggest impacts is just kind of the culture and what he's trying to establish. I think, he's a cross between Bill Belichick and Gerard Mayo. Bill Belichick being a really tough taskmaster, and Gerard Mayo kind of being the complete opposite. I think Mike's in the middle, shaded toward Bill. I mean, he's tough. He's a tough-minded, tough coach, but I think because he played and is closer to the player's age, I think he gets how he, needs to give a little bit of a leash, a little bit, And I think so far, and the other part that I think the players think is really cool is during practices, he takes part with them. He does drill with them. And it's all across. It's putting himself up against the offensive lineman. It's putting himself up against the defensive lineman. He's everywhere. His hands are in every pie. He's very engaged. And I think so far, the players kind of appreciate that about him.
Absolutely. And my question, do you think Patriots fans and players alike, so to speak, do you think they've embraced Coach Vrabel so far? Or are they happy with the move, moving over from Gerard Mayo?
Well, I think they're happy because I mean, back-to-back 4-13 seasons haven't sat well.
Yeah.
With the fans. And you could tell by the empty seats at Gillette over the second half of the season. You could tell by the random fire Mayo chants that were occurring. And I think in Vrabel, he's a proven coach. he transformed the Tennessee Titans while he was there. He got more out of less, which is kind of what Patriot coaches are supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
And he understands, having played here for a decade.
Sorry, I think we lost you. You hear me?
Am I here?
Oh, no, we got you now. Sorry, must have cut out for a sec. Sorry, keep going.
I was just saying he understands the fan base, having played here for a decade. And he also understands the importance of rebuilding the Patriots or getting them back to championship caliber. And he's going to do it his way. So, and, we've seen, whether it's the coaching staff that's joined him, whether it's members of the front office that have come aboard with him, whether it's the type of player he signed in free agency, and even the type of player he drafted. I mean, his fingerprints are over everything.
Absolutely. And well, let's discuss some of those new acquisitions and familiar faces also in the Patriots locker room here. But there's a guy I wanted to ask you about, Efton Chisum. Efton Chisum signed as an undrafted free agent over to the Patriots. He went to Eastern Washington University, and he actually comes from Monroe High School. I actually played briefly at Eastern Washington University with Efton, played against him twice in high school, lived with him, know him pretty well as well. I wanted to ask you, his performance so far in Patriots minicamp and OTAs, he's somebody I'm really excited about. I think he's going under the radar, but some people are really starting to see him. I think Coach Vrabel might have seen that with him. But your thoughts on his performance so far in Patriots minicamp OTAs?
I wouldn't say under the radar. I think he's been a media darling because he stood out.
Good.
Everyone has noticed. He did well. He took advantage. There were some receivers out or not participating, whether it was Jalen Polk or Stefan Diggs. So he was utilized more, but the surprise was they had him flying with the ones on occasion. And I would say from my perspective watching him, I mean, he looks the part. I mean, he looks like a very polished slot type of receiver. He gets open. He knows how to get open. He knows how to run routes. I mean, it screams watching him. Obviously, he's not the fastest guy, but if you get open, I mean, look at Julian Edelman, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you can get open and you have good hands, and he appears to have good hands, and he appears to. The other thing about, and again, it's only OTAs.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, just watching, he seems to have an understanding of the game, or an understanding of, again, how to play the game and what he needs to do to get open. I mean, we will know more with training camp, with joint practices, but the early signs have been impressive when it comes to Efton.
Man, that makes me really excited and proud as a good friend of his, man. That makes me really, really excited. Wow. I'll say this. His character, like, he is a grade A character, really, really good kid, really, really genuine person, interacting with him. He was a year older than me. I had a chance to play against him in high school, and he's a dog. Let's just say that. He works, he's a hell of a worker. He works harder than his teammates. I mean, I saw it at Eastern Washington working with him. I knew he would be special. People, I've been calling him the next Cooper Kupp for the last 5 years. It's almost not comparable because they're kind of, in my eyes, two completely different players. But
Didn't he break his records? Didn't he break his records?
Yeah, I mean, Efton broke all Cooper's records at Eastern. Yeah, damn near every one. I was in an Oklahoma drill with Efton, and I watched him hurdle over somebody, and it was at that point. And I had played against him in high school, but I saw that, and I was like, on the red turf when he did that, and just casual practice, I was like, man, this kid's special. And I mean, it doesn't surprise me all of his success in Eastern and moving his way up the ladder in New England, and I expect him to do that.
Well, the other thing, Bailey, I will say, and you'll be happy about this too. He possesses the type of traits when you're talking about this hardworking guy or going above and beyond or doing whatever it takes. I mean, he's like the poster boy for what Mike Vrabel is looking for in players in terms of the traits that you just mentioned. He is definitely that. Skill is one thing, but I think Vrabel places an emphasis on a person's will and their desire, and them having the mentality of doing whatever it takes to help the team.
Yeah.
Maybe that means not playing in the position you're accustomed to. Maybe that, whatever it takes to help the TEAM team. That's what Vrabel grew up in New England. That's the mentality. Along the way, with the past 20 years, with things changing and athletes getting money in college, I mean, all these things have kind of conspired, Bailey, to make it more of an me first.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong there.
Generation of football players. So when you see someone like Efton, who's kind of like a blast from the past, in terms of his mentality, his work ethic, his desire, his wanting. If Vrabel told him, "I'm going to put you at cornerback," he would play cornerback and not say, "I make more." You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. Great point.
He will do whatever he's told, not ask why, not want more money for whatever. He's just going to do it.
Well said. And that doesn't shock me hearing that, and I agree with you because I just knowing the kid and having been around him, he'll go above and beyond. He ain't afraid to play special teams. I would love to see him potentially in the return game. I don't know how that work in New England, but he is electric. Not the fastest, but he's super quick. And one thing I wanted to show, you brought up Coach Vrabel. I think Efton, is a guy character-wise that fits in Vrabel's culture. I wanted to show Coach Vrabel's comments on Efton's performance so far. Take a listen.
This offseason, what's allowed him to have a little bit of an impact this spring?
I mean, I think he's a talented player. I think he has a certain skill set. He's dedicated. He's studied extremely hard. He has a good feel for what we're asking him to do. I think the biggest thing for receivers is that there's trust, from the guy that throws the football. When you earn the quarterback's trust, any one of them that we have, any one of the three, it doesn't take you long to figure out who the quarterback trusts. It's the ones they target. It's a good indicator.
That is. Karen, your thoughts on Coach Vrabel's comments on Efton there?
Well, it's surprising to hear, coming from Coach Belichick, somebody who's kind of willing to talk about his own players and kind of give you a little bit of insight as to what he thinks, as opposed to kind of snarling at you and saying, Bill never wanted to give away anything, Bill Belichick. But Mike is smart enough to not give away a lot, but tell you a lot. Because when he talked about just randomly, who's the quarterback throwing the football to, is usually the guy he trusts. Well, at that point in camp, all the quarterbacks were throwing quite a bit to Efton. So if you like put two and two together and connect the dots,
Yeah.
Vrabel just told you quite a bit.
Man, I love it. I love it. That makes me really excited for Efton, and none of this surprises me. He's a kid that I know will go and get it and work his way up, and it doesn't surprise me at all. You know, he there's a workout video of him going around, him working with his old high school coach and CEO of ETA training facility over out there in Monroe, Michael Bumpus. Man, I can't wait to see Efton work his way up in training camp. And man, really, really proud of the kid, and I'm glad he's doing well for the Patriots. One thing I wanted to bring up is in that Patriots room, he has a fellow Eastern Washington alumni in that Patriots room with Kendrick Bourne in that Patriots room. Have been played at Eastern Washington, and what are your thoughts on Kendrick Bourne? What is his role in the Patriots? He's kind of coming off of major injuries here, but how does he fit into the Patriots offense going into this season?
Well, some people think he might be a candidate to be traded or cut or released or something. I mean, they have quite a few receivers, but I think, I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, it would.
But I really think they'll keep him because his best year as a pro was his first year here in Josh McDaniels' offense.
Yeah, that's true.
And when you have a veteran like him, I mean, there's nobody that knows the offense except Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, he's been there.
And there's some value in having a veteran like him helping out the younger receivers. A veteran like him who's thrived in the offense, who understands the offense, who understands Josh McDaniels. And as I said, he's the only one. I mean, Hunter Henry also did play in that offense, but if you're talking purely receivers,
yeah,
Kendrick Bourne's the guy. And again, to me, they could prove me completely wrong, but I think all those things work in his favor toward him sticking around. I mean, last year was it was his first year post ACL surgery. Yeah. Typically with ACLs, you're okay with your first year, but it's your second year where you're more back to who you were, and I can already see Kendrick is even moving more confidently, I would say. Good. But I can also see them keeping 7 receivers.
Absolutely.
Which Bailey, is odd saying that, given that people don't think much of the Patriots receiver room.
Right.
But I think you have Diggs, but then you have about 10 guys who are around the same level.
Right. A lot of young guys, question marks. Yeah.
Right. So, do you want to give up on someone too soon? Do you want to give this new, fresh toy, shiny new toy who looks good a chance? So, I mean, they have to weigh all those things.
Absolutely. And I thought it was it's fascinating to me because when I saw Efton sign with New England, the first thing I thought was Bourne's still there, Kendrick's still there, and I was like, I saw that connection because Kendrick played at Eastern Washington, so did Efton. And when I was in a meeting, over in Eastern Washington, Coach Aaron Best over there told a story about, because Kendrick was on the same roster as Cooper Kupp in 2016. He always talked about how Kendrick was better than Cooper Kupp at the time, which is so interesting with the 8 years later how it played out and whatnot. But I saw that, and I mean I would lean to what you said about keeping a veteran in that room, especially if Kendrick knows the offense. There are a lot of young receivers in that room from what it looks like. And I'm about to ask you about one more who's also a product of, I guess, the state of Washington over in Pullman, though, over at Washington State. I want to ask you about Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams, I have a lot of high expectations for him going into this season. You guys drafted him coming over from Washington State. I thought he kind of was slept on in the draft, but I expect him to, come to light in the NFL, so to speak. But his performance so far in Patriots minicamp and OTAs, and then his potential for the Patriots this season in their offense.
Yeah, well, he's flashed at times, not quite as consistently as maybe Efton, but I mean, you see the potential there. You see what he brings to the table, or what he could potentially bring to the table. I love the fact, and I wrote about this, that he's a former quarterback, or a quarterback turned receiver.
Yep.
It was like between his senior year in high school and first year in college, that's when they made the switch. But, you know, the Patriots have had success with quarterback turned receivers.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
Julian Edelman, of course, comes to mind. Jacoby Myers is another one.
Oh, yeah.
But they see the game, or they understand, if you have been a quarterback and you turn into a receiver, they have a unique understanding of what a quarterback is looking for in a receiver, or what a quarterback hopes for from his receiver, in terms of being in the right place, understanding where he needs to be if on a broken play, just it's just knowing the urgency of certain things. So, and Williams, I've talked to Williams about it, and he says, yeah, it gives him a little bit of an advantage, because again, he understands what the quarterback is seeing too, when he's looking out before the play is even called, and so he knows where he has to go. He knows where he has to be, and I think he's going to be an intriguing player to watch going forward. I mean, the Patriots have quite a few quote unquote slot guys, or guys who probably fit best as slot receivers. So it's going to be, Demario Douglas is the starter there, but it's going to be interesting to see, because I think Efton would be a dynamite slot guy.
I agree.
Kyle Williams, I think, could be a dynamite slot guy.
Yes.
And I really think too, we haven't brought his name up, Jalen Polk is better suited in the slot than he is at the X or the Z. That's just me talking. So, so we'll see how it all shakes out.
Absolutely.
And let's not forget Stefan Diggs, who did play in the slot for Houston last year.
Let me ask you about Diggs. There you see him with Efton. What are your thoughts? He's coming over from Houston. Like you mentioned, with injuries, he's coming off a major injury. But we saw him last season. Now going into this season, I expect to see him in a bigger role in the offense with Drake May at QB. What are your expectations for Stefan Diggs going into 2025?
Well, it's hard. He is coming off the ACL injury. He looked great in the practices we saw him. He looks great in these videos he's been putting out of him practicing in France, renting a field or whatever the heck, doing drills. But again, you never know until you actually, see them on the field in an actual setting where they're being hit, so on and so forth. Anyone can look good when nobody's touching them. But I think potentially his presence could be huge, because it helps slot other guys. If the attention's on Stefan, maybe the attention won't be on Demario Douglas, or it won't be on Kendrick Bourne, or it won't be on Kyle Williams, or it won't be on, these guys. Last year, Kendrick was getting doubled, or had to deal with the best cornerback on the other team. So Stefan is going to take that guy. So, Kendrick might be better against a number 2 corner. Demario Douglas would be better. You know what I'm saying? It's
I see what you're saying. Absolutely.
It's the trickle down effect. Diggs will still get open against top guys, but it's the attention he draws. If he draws safety help, if he draws two guys, again, it opens the field up when you have somebody the opposing defense has to pay attention to. And the Patriots just haven't had that receiver.
Definitely, and I think Stefan Diggs will be exactly that for New England, and I can't wait to see it. Karen, I can't thank you enough for joining my show. I really appreciate it. My final question for you, as somebody who covered Bill Belichick for so long, has interacted and seen Bill Belichick, how do you feel about him coaching over in Chapel Hill, coaching the North Carolina Tar Heels? And you got Michael Lombardi as the general manager. Got a couple of his sons coaching for him too. What are your thoughts on seeing that? What was your reaction to seeing that?
Slightly stunned, because I knew as time wore on for Coach Belichick that, again, the current athlete doesn't care about his 6, 7, 8 rings or whatever the heck it is. They don't care, how great of a coach he is. And I think it drove him slightly crazy. He would tell somebody to do something and they would say, why?
Jeez. Yeah.
But again, it's kind of today's athlete wants to know the whys and wants an understanding of why they have to do this drill, or why are you putting me in this position, blah, blah, blah. Whereas Belichick comes from the day and age of, because I said so. As opposed to, so him adapting to liking having every player on the team being in the why mode. Good. I mean, I'd be curious to be a fly on the wall during their practices, but I will say, no matter where he's coaching, the team will be prepared. There's no question about that. And I think people don't give him credit because Brady won elsewhere. I think people don't quite give him enough credit for his defensive genius, and and how he was always able to foil the best quarterbacks and the best offenses. Because he always had something up his sleeve, and the defense was always changing and morphing into something else. And that was because of him and the type of players he chose. His big thing was versatility. So he liked to be able to move guys to different positions, because, again, that was confusing to quarterbacks. If guys all of a sudden lined up here, then moved back over there, and Bill always had this great sleight of hand when it came to his looks on defense, or he'd have everybody standing up, or everybody. I mean, there's no question he's a genius in that regard. So I would expect North Carolina's defense, at the very least, to be very good.
Absolutely. Well said. And I really love getting your perspective on that, because I have high expectations for the Tar Heels. I talk a lot of Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels on this show. Personally, going into this season, they're one of the teams that I'm really looking forward to talk about and cover. And I have high expectations. My favorite thing about Bill Belichick taking over and Lombardi being there, and you brought up the transfer portal and NIL and college football. It's essentially professional football in a way, and it's a business. And I think that they're treating it as such, and that's why I think they're going to have, potentially right off the bat success. They have a pretty easy schedule. So,
well, and I think Bill's biggest selling point for potential recruits or getting guys through the portal and so on is, and this is what he's pitching: I'm the best guy to prepare you for the next level. Given my success at the next level, I know what's going to make you succeed. I know how to make you succeed. I know how to coach you up so that you will be best prepared for the NFL. And I think it's a money slogan for him. And
I agree. Yeah.
And recruits are getting potential recruits. But of course, there's nothing like winning. So he's going to have a good season to kind of back that up, I would say.
No, I agree. Definitely winning's got to back it. I think they've been making a lot of recruiting noise. I can't wait to see what they look like as a product on the field, because I really think the noise, even in such a short period of time this offseason, I really think they've gotten some kids, and just him, the overhaul. He's brought in like 60 transfers or something like that. I'm really excited to see how the product looks on the field in a conference in the ACC that I think is pretty wide open for them, and their schedule is light in my opinion, but can't wait to see it. Karen, I can't thank you enough for joining. This has been a great interview. Love getting your perspective here on this fine Thursday. Would love to have you back on again closer to the season, and I hope you have a great Thursday. Thank you.
Thanks, Bailey.
I appreciate it. Have a great Thursday. Shout out to Karen Guregian for joining the show, New England Patriots columnist, for giving us the insight on Coach Vrabel's impact on the Patriots so far. Efton Chisum, who's a Eastern Washington University wide receiver alumnus, and he's a wide receiver at New England, giving us insight on his performance so far, and lots of like from Efton, which makes me really excited for him, and really proud of him. Efton, if you're listening, proud of you, brother. Talked about Kyle Williams' potential in the Patriots offense. Kyle Williams is at Washington State, and is a Patriots wide receiver as well. Talks a little Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels, and as you guys know from watching, we talk a lot of Bill Belichick in this show. So great show here on this fine Thursday. A little bit of a shorter show here. We'll be back next week. Going to enjoy the 4th of July weekend. I hope you enjoy it as well. If you're watching, folks, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army. I appreciate you all tuning in, and maybe might have a show this weekend depending on scheduling and if news comes out. But if not, we'll be back on Monday, folks, over on 0 to 60 with Big Matt, covering all things Colorado Buffaloes football. We'll be live here on Tuesday. NFL and college football here. Folks, thank you for watching. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the 4th of July weekend, and peace. Thanks for watching.